The rain poured relentlessly that night when Mark Daniels pulled his old pickup truck into the nearly empty parking lot of St. Mary's Children's Hospital. The wipers struggled against the storm, but he barely noticed. His heart was heavier than the clouds above. His wife, Emily, had passed away 2 years ago, leaving him to raise their son, Jake, alone. Life hadn't been kind since. Bills piled up, the house needed repairs, and Mark's job as a mechanic barely kept food on the table. But none of that was what brought him here tonight. He was here because of a little girl. Her name was Lily, 8 years old, paralyzed from the waist down after a car accident that had taken both her parents, or so everyone thought. Mark had met her while volunteering to fix the hospital's old wheelchairs. The first time he saw her, she was sitting by the window, sketching a dog on a piece of paper. When he asked about it, she smiled shyly and said, "It's a golden retriever. I'll name him Sonny when I get a house one day." That single sentence cracked something open inside him. She was fragile, quiet, but full of a hope he hadn't felt in years. Over the next few weeks, Mark found himself coming to the hospital more often, not just to fix equipment but to see Lily. They'd talk for hours. She'd ask about cars, his son, and the world outside the hospital walls. One day, she told him she'd never even seen the ocean. That night, he couldn't sleep. He knew what he had to do. When Mark first told the social worker he wanted to adopt Lily, she looked at him skeptically. "Mr. Daniels, she'll need special care, ramps, therapy, regular hospital visits. Are you sure you can manage all that?" He hesitated, then nodded. "I'm not rich, but I've got love. And I've got time. I think she needs that more than anything." A few months later, the adoption went through. The day Lily left the hospital, she clutched a small backpack and a worn-out teddy bear. Mark lifted her gently into his truck. "Ready to go home?" he asked. Her eyes sparkled. "Home," she whispered, like it was a word she'd never dared to believe in. "Yeah," he said softly. "Home." Life after that wasn't easy. Their small 2-bedroom house in Cedar Grove, Ohio, wasn't built for a wheelchair. Mark worked extra shifts at the auto shop to pay for a portable ramp and a second-hand electric chair. His son, Jake, helped however he could, but at first, he struggled. "Dad, it's like everything's about her now," Jake muttered one night, staring at his unfinished homework. Mark sighed, sitting beside him. "I know, bud. It's been a big change for all of us. But she needs us. You remember how it felt when Mom died? She lost her whole world too." Jake's expression softened. The next morning, Mark found him pushing Lily's wheelchair outside to watch the sunrise. Slowly, the three of them began to feel like a real family. They painted Lily's room yellow, her favorite color. They built ramps together and even converted an old wagon into a race car, so Lily could join in when Jake played outside. On weekends, they'd pack sandwiches and go fishing by the lake. Lily couldn't walk, but that didn't stop her from laughing the loudest when she caught her first fish. But happiness had a way of testing people. That winter, Mark's auto shop burned down after an electrical fire. His insurance barely covered the loss. Without a steady income, bills began to pile up again. The furnace broke, and the hospital called to remind him that Lily's physical therapy payments were overdue. One night, as the kids slept, Mark sat at the kitchen table, staring at a stack of unpaid notices. His hands trembled. For the first time since Emily died, he cried. He whispered to the empty room, "I'm trying, Em. I'm really trying." The next morning, he put on a brave face and went job hunting. But no one wanted to hire a middle-aged mechanic without a shop. By March, he was doing odd jobs, fixing lawnmowers, patching fences, anything to keep the lights on. And yet, every time he felt like giving up, Lily would look at him with those bright eyes and say something that lit a spark back inside him. "Don't worry, Dad," she'd say. "Good things take time." She called him Dad. The first time she said it, he almost broke down right there. Then one day, everything changed, because of a letter. It arrived in a cream-colored envelope with gold embossing, private, from the office of Andrew Whitmore. Mark didn't recognize the name, but when he opened it, his hands started to shake. "Dear Mr. Daniels, I believe you are caring for a young girl named Lily. I am requesting to meet with you in person regarding her welfare. Andrew Whitmore, CEO, Whitmore Industries." Whitmore Industries was one of the biggest companies in the country, everyone knew the name. Mark's gut twisted. Why would a billionaire CEO care about his daughter's adopted child? He worried all night, thinking maybe it was about some kind of custody issue. The next morning, he drove to Whitmore Tower in downtown Cleveland, his old truck looking wildly out of place among luxury cars in the marble driveway. Inside, he was escorted to a private office that overlooked the city skyline. Behind the massive glass desk sat a man in his early 50s, graying at the temples but sharply dressed. His face looked kind, but there was a sadness in his eyes. "Mr. Daniels," the man said, standing. "Thank you for coming. Please, sit." Mark sat cautiously. "Is this about Lily?" The man nodded slowly. "Yes. You see, Lily is my granddaughter." Mark blinked. "What?" Andrew sighed, pulling out a photo from his desk, a younger man and woman holding baby Lily. "My son, Michael, was her father. He and his wife died in a car crash 3 years ago. We searched everywhere for Lily afterward, but, somehow, she was lost in the system." Mark's heart pounded. "You're saying, you're her family?" "Yes," Andrew said quietly. "And I've been looking for her ever since." Mark's stomach dropped. "If you're here to take her away." Andrew held up a hand. "No. I've read everything about you, Mr. Daniels. The hospital records, the adoption papers. You saved her. You gave her a home when the world forgot her. I don't want to take that from her." He paused, his voice breaking slightly. "I just want to meet her. And help, if you'll let me." That evening, when Mark told Lily about Andrew, she stared at him in disbelief. "I have a grandpa." "Yes," Mark said softly. "And he wants to meet you." Lily's hands trembled, but she smiled. "Do you think he'll like me?" Mark smiled back. "He'd be crazy not to." A week later, Andrew Whitmore arrived at their small house in a sleek black car. He stepped out, clearly out of place among the cracked sidewalks and peeling fences. But when he saw Lily sitting in her wheelchair on the porch, all the wealth in the world melted away from his expression. He knelt before her. "You look just like your father," he whispered. Lily hesitated, then reached out and touched his face. "You're really my grandpa." Tears filled his eyes. "Yes, sweetheart. And I've missed you every single day." From that moment, something beautiful began to form. Not just a family reunion, but a bond that healed all of them. Andrew started visiting every weekend. He quietly paid off Mark's debts and rebuilt the auto shop, but he never told Mark at first. He just called it a small investment in good people. He even arranged for Lily to see a specialist doctor. After months of therapy and a groundbreaking new treatment, Lily began regaining partial movement in her legs. The day she took her first wobbly step, holding onto the railing with tears streaming down her face, Mark fell to his knees. "You did it, sweetheart," he whispered. "You did it." 2 years later, their small town held a charity fair to celebrate the reopening of Mark's auto shop. There were balloons, music, and laughter, and Lily, now 10, stood proudly next to her wheelchair, walking slowly but determinedly toward the stage. When she spoke into the microphone, her voice trembled with emotion. "I used to think I'd never have a real family," she said. "But then my dad, my real dad, found me. Not the one who's rich or powerful, but the one who showed up, who stayed, who loved me when no one else did. He taught me that family isn't about blood. It's about heart." Mark couldn't hold back his tears. Neither could Andrew. That night, as the sun set over Cedar Grove, Mark sat on the porch with a mug of coffee while Lily and Jake chased fireflies across the yard. Andrew joined him quietly. "She's incredible," Andrew said softly. "Yeah," Mark smiled. "She saved me more than I saved her." Andrew nodded. "You know, I spent half my life building a company, thinking success was measured by what you own. But watching you and her, I realized it's measured by who you love." The two men sat in silence, watching Lily laugh, a sound that seemed to carry all the pain of the past away with it. Years later, Lily would go on to become a children's therapist, helping other kids with disabilities find their strength again. And in every speech, every interview, she'd tell the same story, about the man who took her in when she had nothing, not knowing that she came from wealth. Her final line always made the audience cry. "My father didn't know my family was rich. But he gave me something money could never buy, love, belonging, and a home." And in that simple truth lay the most powerful message of all. The richest people in the world aren't the ones with money, they're the ones with love in their hearts.